And with that, I think we're live. Hello, everyone. I am Paul. I'm usually the guy who's running this. And welcome to session 0 of the Tuesday group. And we don't have a fun name yet, so we're just going to call ourselves the Tuesday group. And who am I with tonight?
You are with Sam Dillon. And if any listeners are on Twitter very often, you can follow me at DM Samuel, and you can check out my website at rpgmusings.com, or you could actually listen to the Tome Show. I am the official editor there, and I'm on quite a few episodes. But really, I'm here because I am playing Stu, the very small, very slight kobold sorcerer.
And I'm Lucy. You can find me on Twitter or Instagram at Bluebird Draws, and I will be playing Taz, the bard.
And I'm Amanda, or DM Deistress, and you can find me at Twitter at DM Deistress. I'm playing the Tabaxi Tabby Tipsy Tail.
And I'm Camille Barmore. You can find me on Twitter at Not Your Girlfriend. I am playing Ray, a paladin.
I am Chris. You can find me on Twitter at Touch of Tiefling. I am playing Flea, the Lizard Folk Fighter.
I am Alex. You can find me on the Twitter at The Real Mr. Puddins, and you can also read my blog titled Cobalt Stew.
And I'm John. You can find me at John_the DM on Twitter, and I will be playing Roscoe, the halfling wizard, who's just a tiny bit bigger than Stu.
Okay, and to show how amateur I am, that was everyone, right?
That was everyone.
Okay. I stopped paying attention for 2 seconds. I'm like, okay, who are we on? Oh, that was John. Cool. Yeah, as I said earlier in the intro, this is going to be session 0, so we're going to be talking about a lot of stuff. We're not going to do much role playing. If we do, it's going to be way at the end. But we're just going to talk about things we want to do in the game, things we don't want to do in the game, things we want to see, and a few other things that we just need to talk as a group all together. And hopefully anybody who actually runs the game will learn a little something about session 0s or get some kind of inspiration the next time they do session 0. So hopefully this could be at least educational, if not entertaining. So we're going to go to our first question here. What kind of game do you guys want? Do you want high fantasy, low fantasy, something humorous or horror, or a trashy romance, or, high magic, low magic? All those options that we have within any game, really.
I do love a really good trashy romance. I think something that's both equally dramatic and equally funny. Sounds great to me.
Yeah, I've been trying to convince people to do a trashy romance D&D game with me for years.
I'm totally here for this.
Okay.
Yeah, I like a good mix. I'm more of a high fantasy guy. I've never really played a low fantasy campaign. I wouldn't be opposed to it, but I just like them all mixed together. And you know what? I'm in the same boat. The dollar store romance sounds pretty spectacular.
Yes, this is coming together.
Yeah, I'm pretty much a fan of any type of fantasy, honestly. I do prefer sometimes a little bit of a grittier game, but in my personal games, I sprinkle in some humor and horror once in a while to really change it up. And yeah, let's put some trashy romance in there. I'm a fan.
You guys are making me so happy. So happy right now.
I feel like, if this turns into a dime store pulp fantasy romance, I'm okay with that. I don't
could be okay with that too.
I can support that.
I love you.
Right? So for me, I don't really care about high fantasy or low fantasy. I don't care about the distinction. It doesn't really matter to me. And in terms of horror or humorous, I like comedy, but it feels better if it's more spontaneous, right? I don't expect you to make a comedy scenario for us. I expect the comedy to arise out of the role playing and the interaction between us and the GM, and you know what I mean. Just whether it's side conversation joking or whether it's in character role playing, those are both fine with me in terms of humor. But
And
I don't
those nat
expect I don't-
ones.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's not
right.
ones.
Exactly.
Nat
Yeah,
ones.
yeah.
I
Like-
think I definitely agree with Sam on that.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to force the humor. I mean, it'll come. So a little mixture of either one is perfectly fine. It'll come out just the way we play. So I'm cool with anything we want to do, even the trashy romance novel.
Yes.
When I run games, I don't usually run very much horror, other than just the aspect of like if there's undead or if there's some kind of giant demon conspiracy or something that's really horrific, but not like true like gothic horror. I don't usually run those. So if it ran that direction, I'd be okay with it. If it doesn't, I'm okay with that too.
So
I mean,
gothic
horror-
horror, trashy romance.
I mean, even horror that goes in the direction besides gothic, because like one session I used a thing that was based off of John Carpenter's The Thing, and the players loved it. It's like, so if you go in a more like twisted sci-fi direction with the horror, I'm cool with that too.
Okay, this should be interesting then. So you guys are basically up for a little bit of anything as long as it's like good roleplay. Then that's what I'm
Yeah.
getting.
Pretty flexible.
Yeah,
Yep.
narrative. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, narrative is pretty important to me, but
Yeah.
apart from that, I'm up for anything.
And that actually brings us right into our next question. Like, what percentage of rolling for events versus actual roleplay would you prefer in this game?
I honestly hate rolling for something that I can roleplay out. I would
Yeah.
rather roleplay it out if I can. If it's something that you can't roleplay out, then rolling's fine with me. I mean, I can do either one. There go my dogs. But yeah, I would rather roleplay it first, and then if we need to make a roll at the end of it, that's cool.
I agree with John. I think it's one of those things that if my character can't do this, like if it's part of who they are, and I can role play that out, sure. But maybe if my character is trying something new for the first time and you want to have me roll and I get a nat one, then that's totally on me. I'm always gonna leave it up to you, of course, the DM. But
There's another way of playing where some people roll in advance of what they're about to do, and then they role play off of what they got.
right,
Yeah.
So
I'm
I-
down for that
another-
too.
I'm usually more in that field where it's like, okay, roll for that check. What happens when you fail, or what happens when you super succeed, or what just happens?
Right. Part two of this question I would put in would be during combat scenes, would you prefer to state your blow by blow with your character, or would you rather have the DM state your blow by blow, not just your fails and your crits?
I definitely would like to narrate my own.
Me too. I like to narrate.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
so do
big
I.
on the narration.
Yeah, I tend towards that too.
Okay. So do I.
Yeah, me too.
If I like stand up, thank God we don't have cameras, because I would like start standing up and swinging arms in the air and flailing.
It sounds like I'm gonna have an easy job. I don't know what I'm
I
gonna
was about to
do.
say.
It's like, okay, you hit, what happens?
Yep. It's just set the scene.
Yeah.
Gotta
Actually,
set
a
the
question.
romance up.
Oh, go for
How
it.
many of us have been DMs before?
I have been mostly a DM, and I prefer to play, but I'm always wearing the eternal DM mantle because nobody else will.
Yep.
That's
same.
exactly where I'm at too.
Yep. Yeah, I am eternal DM.
Yeah,
I
I
am-
think everybody is here in
Yeah,
this channel.
but I am because I like it.
Oh, I love
No,
it. Actually,
Not
something
because
different.
I'm stuck with it, but I prefer it. But my policy is I think every DM should play at least in one or two games at least minimum a year, because you need to see what it's like on the other side of the table too.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
yeah.
agree.
Agreed.
Definitely.
Oh,
I
yeah.
definitely do love DMing, especially for my group that I have. They're amazing. But I do love to really get nitty and gritty on one character and get to explore that aspect.
Yeah, I like DMing. I actually really enjoy the world building aspect of it.
Oh
but
yeah.
but I don't get to be a player enough. So Thank you, Paul.
Yeah, no
Thank you.
problem.
Yes, thank you.
And
Thank
as
you. I think I've played twice as a character in the last 6 months. So yeah, I'm really
Wow.
looking forward to actually not having a DM for once.
Yeah, I've played as a player a couple of times, but in like one shots or campaigns that fizzled out really fast. So I'm really excited to be able to get invested in this.
yeah, and hopefully we can like keep this going and play more than like 2 games before all our schedules just like implode. So
Or
that's
we
the
all
hope.
die.
Oh,
We all
oh, come on! You just roll characters, and you go for the same temple, and just don't make the same mistake.
Oh, my character has a twin that nobody knew about.
Except this one has a lot better armor class and hit points.
For real.
I literally had a player in one of my games died in the first session because they were player level 1, and they're like, yeah, can my just mysterious cousin just show up and so I don't have to roll? I'm like, yes. Yeah,
That's how we used to do it back in the day. Was if your character Frank died, you came in with his cousin Brank.
Exactly.
He inherited all of his gear, and then when he died, he came in with this cousin Frank, and that's just how it works.
Yeah, it
That's
made
what
me.
still happens. And
It was one of those player deaths that I was just like, I felt kind of bad because like for the longest time she was the only player that I would crit roll on anytime a monster attacked. Just her, nobody else.
Oh,
And it was like I don't know how I got 3 crits in a row with 3 different monsters just on her, but it happened, and she was dead instantly.
Oh no.
And this was literally like the first dungeon I was running with her too. It's just like, wow, I feel like I'm beating up on this like player and character. Yeah, you can have your cousin. You can have so many cousins if this keeps happening.
You can have all the cousins.
All the cousins. Alright, so I think we kind of had a little taste of this, but what are you expecting to get out of this game? And what kind of things do you want? And is there a problem if we just don't have Dungeons or Dragons? Like we're just always out in an open plain, or our dungeon is more or less like a giant city, or whatever.
I was gonna say honestly, the setting does not matter to me at all. I can work with anything. The thing that I am most looking forward to with you guys is character on character interaction and that kind of thing. The actual roleplay of it, or discovering people's backstories and how it fits into the campaign and each of your characters' quirks. That's what I'm looking forward to the most. So whether we have dragons or dungeons is of little consequence to me. I'm sure we're gonna have a great time either way.
Yeah, I'm kind of the
exact
same.
Yeah. Me too.
Yeah.
I just kind of I feed off of the narrative. I don't really care where the narrative takes us so much. Like as long as I just am enjoying it. Like I'm not hard to please.
Are we all the same person?
A little
Seems
bit.
like it, yeah.
I mean, I'll also enjoy like digging up the lore and the history of whatever world you've built, Paul. Like
Almost definitely.
that's what I go for in a game. If there's dungeons, if there's dragons, that's just narrative backdrop. That's where our characters are gonna grow, and that's where they're gonna be revealed. Like this is why my dude's the way he is through that. And just Dungeons and Dragons city, a plane is just the vehicle or the backdrop of the story.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I would like to see or experience a game with a strong villain,
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter to me whether it's a dragon or a demon or a human or a halfling or a king or some random wizard. Doesn't really matter to me.
Or not even one villain, but
Right. A
Yeah,
group
yeah.
or just
an idea.
an idea.
Or
Right.
there's different types of villainy. Paul covered this actually in one of his Swordfall chats that he had, but we were talking about different villains, and it doesn't have to be a person. It could be the environment. It could be technology.
Exactly.
It could be
Yeah.
you versus a deity, or you versus the author. It could be anything.
Or you versus the greatest villain, yourself.
Yes, or an inner battle with yourself.
That's right.
Internal conflict.
All the time.
Internal conflict in a trashy romance.
Yes.
I'm game. So game
Well,
for
this
that.
will easily become an anime where it's like, do they like me? I don't know. Should they like me? What are they doing? They winked at me. I think that's a thing. Or wait, was that more of a grimace? I'm not so sure. What do I do? I'm not sure what to do. I'm going to go ask my friend. What do you think? Person's like, I think this is a great idea. I think they do like you, but I'm not so sure.
And then
All while they're flying through the air.
Yep. And then the third person just comes in. I love them too. And they're like, love? We never thought of love.
What?
But you just met them 3 seconds ago. I know, but I'm in love.
Oh.
What is the nature of love?
Oh, dude, no. It's what is love? Baby, don't hurt me. Okay.
Oh my god.
I'll stop.
I'm not gonna do what I usually would do. Not about to just blast the song through my mic.
Yeah. It's so easy to just do that. But we're going to keep going, answering questions and getting your opinions because it's important. So anyways, what I got from that is just as long as something helps the narrative go on, this game could just be anywhere and you guys would be happy.
Pretty much.
Yep.
Okay.
Exactly.
I'm glad I'm listening. Or I would have had the answer totally wrong. What I got from you guys is I should put puppies in the game. And
Please?
Yes. Puppies. Puppies.
I'm just gonna say right now, I have a bad history of killing familiars and pets and mounts.
You can't kill Roscoe's weasel already.
We must avenge Roscoe's weasel.
I thought Roscoe was also a familiar.
Yeah, he's actually my familiar. So.
I would like a Tarrasque as a mount. Can I have that?
Yes.
With Tarrasque? Oh my
Is that
god.
okay?
Yeah,
Please, please.
it would be everyone's mount. Okay, everyone, hop on the Tarrasque. Let's turn
I
on the
cannot
rockets and
promise my
fly through
halfling
the
will
snow.
not ride on someone's shoulders.
Well,
Praise down for this.
yeah.
Oh, do it.
Okay, so we're gonna get to this. If you guys don't want to answer, as we are live and there might be people listening, because this is a little sensitive, you can just email if you need to. But what are things that are gonna make you uncomfortable? Things you don't even want to touch in role playing? Are there certain themes, scenarios, descriptions that you just want off limits? In other words, is there anything that's going to trigger you, and what should I stay away from that might trigger you?
I am honestly the easiest person in the world to get along with. I don't know how many podcasts everybody listens to, but there's one that I listen to that is really gritty, really in your face, tackles every issue. It doesn't bother me. I wouldn't have a problem role playing it, so I can't really think of anything. But I would definitely respect everybody else's opinions and stay away from things that they wouldn't feel comfortable with. So
I'm fine with everything too, but I do know that some people are like, they don't want graphic descriptions of death, or, they can't deal with a child being murdered or a baby being murdered. It's part of the story and I feel it's fine, but I do know people that are just like, don't go there. That will just be like a trigger. So I'm thinking maybe think along the lines of the things that would trigger you to be like, I will never play this game again because they describe these things and these offend me specifically.
Yeah. I've DM'd for some people who had specific, like they didn't want a violent act to be described in a certain way, like a neck being slashed or that kind of thing. So I totally respect anybody's, I hate to use the word trigger, but yeah, I guess that is. I don't have any personally. There's not going to be anything that's going to make me not want to play this game with you guys. So
The only thing I'd like to avoid, and I don't think it's going to be a problem, is any kind of sexual violence. Like, that's off limits. But apart from that,
Yeah, I usually avoid that.
yeah, that would be the one I could maybe think of.
That is the one I've always avoided at my tabletop. Even if I'm okay with everything, I know not everyone else is, and that is like the big one that I never use at the tabletop.
Yeah, I'm good with pretty
Yeah.
much anything else, just not that.
Yeah, I usually avoid any kind of like graphic child abuse because I just that's not needed anytime. Sexual violence, rape, that kind of stuff. Nope. I don't do that. And mainly because, I feel a little if I feel a little awkward like describing things to you guys, then it's probably awkward for someone else who's playing. So, that's kind of how I play it.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
It kind of also
Yeah.
begs the question is like, does that have a place in role playing games or not? And generally the answer is probably no.
Yeah, I mean, I'm playing the game to relax and have fun, not necessarily to explore, these really horrible issues. So
yeah,
I know that some
Yeah.
games are set up specifically to do that, and I'm not knocking those games, but that's not D&D for me.
Yeah,
So
like you said, some games are, and some people want that vibe that you get when you watch Game of Thrones. They want that explicitness, but some games are just like, no. So it's a really good question and a really good place to gauge what you want.
Oh, it's a very important question that you should ask every group you're going to play with. Like, what should we avoid? And I'm glad you're asking it, Paul, because it's better to ask instead of have it come up in game and have an issue because of it.
Yeah, like I
Yeah.
had one person who could not stand, I think it was sheep and the slaughtering of sheep, and they're like, no, I can't do that at
That's
all.
oddly specific.
Yeah, well, around here we have a lot of farms and stuff that some people get traumatized on, so yeah.
Yeah.
It's
No, that
kind of
makes
like, yeah.
I probably should ask, is everybody okay if an animal dies, a human being dies, and it describes like blood and guts coming out? That's fine?
Yeah, when I said gritty, like when I said I want a gritty game, that's kind of what I meant, was a little bit of violence is all
Graphic
right.
descriptions of violence do not bother me.
Yeah, they don't bother me
Yeah.
either.
No.
Don't get me wrong, I'm gonna be real sad if a kid dies in this game, but it's not gonna be one of those things.
Oh, for sure. Like, if an animal dies, I will be...
I'll cry. I'm gonna let you know. I'll probably cry. It's fine.
If Roscoe's weasel dies, we riot.
Yes, we do.
Oh, dude, yeah, we have Herberta in the other campaign for Tales of Swordfall, and they're like, God damn it, if you kill Herberta, we're all gonna freaking leave instantly, and you'll have no more players. I'm like, whoa, guys, it's an imaginary animal in a game, and they're like, no, you don't understand. We bought it with our gold, and I'm like, okay, Herberta's off
I
limits.
mean, I'm not leaving if the weasel dies, but I'm going to track down the person who did it and make sure they pay for it.
Oh, yeah.
I appreciate that, though. So, yeah, I mean, I'm getting a pretty good idea. And as I said, if you guys don't want to, like, say something out loud and just want to say it to me privately, please, because I want to make you guys feel that this table is a safe place. And that's kind of been, like, my big thing for years and years is I want this game so everybody feels like they can actually play in it, they're comfortable, and, communication is key amongst all of us to actually keep that happening. And if you ever listen to my adventures in game mastering, I like repeat that so many times. Okay. Knock over the soapbox. Yep.
We appreciate you, Paul.
Yeah, but it's important to ask that. I mean, I usually know like what I can include in games because I play with close friends, but when you're playing with people you've never played with before, it's important to know.
Yeah, I always play with strangers for whatever reason. I don't even know why. It's a madness that I have them like, I gotta find people I never played with before. And have like at least one person I played with within the group, but like everyone else. Okay. I'm trying to understand the next question that I wrote. Do you think that... Oh! Do you think all the characters should know each other at the beginning of the game, or should you guys, like, be lumped together in groups, or be complete strangers, or, what do you think about that? I know some people prefer, especially when they're, like, higher levels, that oh yeah, we're like a past adventuring group. And then others are like, hell's no, I don't know him. But they like to try to organically get together or like make me struggle, and they're like, no, I'm not going to join this group yet. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, I think that as a DM, I always hate when my player characters don't know each other, because it's kind of that awkward will she or won't she, especially if you're playing from a storytelling aspect and you are less likely to be like, okay, fine, my character gets along with you guys, whatever, it's fine. So I'm okay if some of our backstories align and we can chat about that, or like our places in our characters' lives line up. That's totally cool. Besides, I don't really have too much of a preference. What about you guys?
Yeah, I don't think we need to be fast friends or have worked with each other a lot before or anything, but we could easily be with acquaintances. Like we've ran into each other before. Maybe we did a job together before, or we just know of each other. And while we may not be friends, we have a tolerance for those people, and we wouldn't have a problem working with each other.
Yeah.
I think it makes sense for some of us to have crossed paths before. For example, Stu spends a lot of time, he kind of grew up in the sewers, and his official quote background is as a street urchin. And so anyone who has spent a lot of time with the poor or destitute in any large city in Swordfall probably has heard of the kobold who feeds hungry children and stuff like that.
Yeah, and it would make sense for Krakatur to know Stu then, because he's been just kind of meandering about the world, running away from his problems. So it's like, yeah,
That's
of course
real.
he's probably right. So like he's probably
you could probably do the whole Lost theme where certain characters end up in their backstories and just kind of have flashes. Well, one character is doing this in their backstory, the other character is actually doing this in their backstory.
Oh yeah, I was
Yeah, that
totally
sounds
planning
fun.
on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really care if we know each other or not beforehand. The one thing that bothers me when new adventuring groups is getting together is people who are like, no, I don't want to do it, and splitting off and coming back. Like,
It's hard because like if you want to stick to how your character would be, but you like it's kind of this fine line between portraying your character the way you want them to be, but also being a good player. So I agree. It is very frustrating.
Yeah, I think for this game, it sounds like everybody wants off of the table the I'm not sure if I should game with you guys.
Yeah.
To be taken out.
yeah.
I just I feel like even though my character's kind of a loner, it was because of necessity. It wasn't because he doesn't like anyone, right? So given the opportunity to feel like a part of something, he'll probably join something. And I've run games in the past as well where the player's like, oh, my character's the complete loner. And I'm like, well, why are you playing this game then? This is a group game. On some level, you can start out trying to explore that, like, how did this person come to grow up and mature into someone who can deal with other people in the world, but that can't be the whole campaign.
Yeah, definitely.
So
my classic answer to the person who's like, well, why would I go and join them? I say, all right, fine, you stay behind and live an insignificant life, and they go off to be heroes.
And you can still play your character as a little aloof or standoffish when it comes to other people and still be part of a group and still go out adventuring with them. It's just all the way you portray it. I mean, you don't have to be that I don't need anybody. I'm going to go wherever I want, and who cares what anybody says. I mean, you're going to listen to reason, you would think.
Yeah, like Batman's a loner, but he works with people when he's gotta.
Yeah, he works with the Justice League like every once in a while, so
when forced to.
Or just like in real life when there's an introvert who works with people.
You just gotta do it sometimes.
Yeah,
that's right.
My best example, so I play in a really super homebrew game called Heroes of Old. You can actually find that on Band of the Hawk Gaming, but anyways, enough a plug. I was playing this monster hunter named Guntram, and he was like hardcore, I kill necromancers and monsters, and if you're either, you're dead. we had this new player come in, and they decided they wanted to play a mimic that could talk. And I was like, oh, wow, okay, what am I going to do here? I mean, I could, like, go all PvP and, like, try to kill her, or just go with it. Even though, like, my character might not, but we're already, like, so far in this campaign, I don't want to mess up any of the dynamics. So I kind of went with it, whatever. And sometimes you just have to do that. It was a really strange situation. So yeah, I'll let you guys talk amongst yourselves. I mean, we can do it on air, or we can leave it to, like, off camera. However you guys met.
I'm fine with it being on air.
Oh, I think we should do it off air because it'll be more of an exciting thing for the audience to listen to versus a spoiler being like, hey, yeah, we know each other from A, B, and C scenarios. And you're like, oh, okay. So it's like
kind of like a
story
bigger
points. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I think it could be a fun in-game reveal if we do it off air.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I actually do have a question that I wanted to ask.
Okay, shoot.
Kind of a Critical Role inspired question. How are you guys with like flirtation and that kind of thing between characters? Not
This
just
is going to be a
NPCs.
trashy romance, right?
I mean, I'm just making sure. Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
I mean, it's not going to offend me at all. I don't care.
Here's the thing that was just brought up was about the scenes and things that happen when romance can be brought into situations. So flirting would be one of those things. Is everybody okay with flirting? Is everybody okay with different genders and gender swaps and everything else?
Chris is okay with it. Flea, being a lizard folk, might be kind of confused by everything, but Chris is fine with it.
Alex is cool with it. Krakatur's score of 5 charisma is going to make him have a really tough time with it, though.
Yeah, I'm totally fine with it.
Yeah, I mean, I consider it's role playing. It's not me, it's Stu. So, Stu's going to react how Stu reacts, and I'm not offended very easily. So, I'm not sure that any of you could say anything that would actually offend me and make me wonder what the hell I'm doing in this group. So,
Well, let's get on with this trashy romance.
Yes.
Hey, Stu, bring your tail over here.
In every trashy so in every trashy romance novel, think about it. There's always that one person that does something really offensive.
Mhm.
And is that really offensive thing gonna be okay here?
Yeah, I'm
With-
cool with it.
yeah, with me it will be.
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
It'll
Yeah,
probably
so
even go over my
If
head.
it's not, anybody that might have a problem with it might want to message Paul like, no, I kind of get it. I'm fine with it too, but I'm just saying, usually in trashy romance novels, there is a character, a protagonist that is going to do something really bad, and it's usually of a sexual nature.
Yeah. I kind
And
of
we
got
just got
where you
them
were
saying,
going.
like, don't do it.
Yeah, that kind of thing is like for me, and just for me, I don't want explicit like details. You can fade to black, but you can give enough to let everyone know what's happening. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I'm pretty much on the same page.
Yeah, I'm on
Yeah,
that same
So
page
if there's
too.
a town bad guy, like a creeper, it's okay. Just don't narrate what he did. More of like he did A, B, and C without the flowery descriptions of those things.
Yeah, well, if it
Yeah.
comes to that, it's probably going to be NPC that's love interest or whatever, an NPC that's bad guy. You're probably going to find the NPC that's love interest like crying and having something very wrong with her, and
or hearing a rumor kind of thing. Like,
Yeah.
well, oh, I heard that so and so.
I heard Samson had his way with Lucy. Ha ha ha. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that kind of thing. Yeah, I mean, I'm okay with that as much as like I just don't want like graphic depictions of rape or anything like that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Agreed.
Yeah, I think that for that, just refer back to question 4.
Yeah.
It's good to clarify, though. It's definitely good.
Oh,
to clarify.
yeah.
definitely.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, as I said, like, I don't want to do like depictions of rape or anything. If it makes me feel uneasy, it's probably making somebody else feel a little bit uneasy. And also, since role play is a little bit more psychological than most people give it, you know, its worth of, sometimes it's like you don't really realize that it's affecting you as much as it does. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I don't know. My general rule of thumb usually was, because I played a lot at my friends' houses when they lived with parents, was, would it be something that you'd be okay with the parents walking in on and hearing? Kind of like when you're watching a movie and something's going on and you're like, oh
Well,
God.
Okay, so if it comes out of the person's mouth, it's a lot different than watching it on TV. And
Oh,
this
I
is
know.
another thing. If anybody has significant others and you're playing a flirtatious character and you say something back flirtatious and your significant other walks in and hears that, they might get upset or jealous. And these are things that you have to think about. Are you okay with it? Are you not okay with it?
Right. I know me personally, my significant other will think it's absolutely hilarious.
Same here.
Yeah, she'll probably just laugh at me and make fun of me for it.
Yeah,
Yep.
mine will be like, what? But you're like a little lizard guy with a dog face, aren't you?
Right. So if anybody does have a problem, definitely message Paul because that could happen,
yeah. Or if you do
Yes.
start having problems, message me. Like, if there are problems in your life because of D&D and I'm kind of the direct cause, please let me know. We can change things. Because I don't want this to be like, fun while you're playing D&D, but drama in your life, because that's never awesome.
Well, and can I say, as a player in the group, if at all of a sudden during a session or something, someone says, okay, we have to stop and change directions, I'm totally okay with that.
Oh
me
yeah,
too.
like I
Yeah.
will
Oh, yeah.
totally
That's fine.
respect that.
I
Because
mean, I agree with the philosophy. This is supposed to be fun, and if anyone is uncomfortable, then we're doing something wrong.
yeah, and
Yep.
also we're all adults, hopefully. So,
Yeah.
I hope we can understand that we all have feelings. We all have things that we don't like, and when we need to stop, we should just stop.
Oh, we're
Yeah.
adults? I'm only 16.
Oh God, I've had some awkward
know,
thoughts about you, man.
To add to what Paul's been saying, like, if I do something, say something that bothers you, just like let me know, because sometimes I won't realize it always, and it's just like, just let me know if I do something, because I just want everyone to have fun. I want to have fun. We're all here to have a good time.
And
Yeah,
also,
that does bring up a good question of if you're having problems with another player.
yeah, I encourage like talking, but if you don't feel comfortable confronting another person, I will totally be there to moderate any situation for you. And if it's the problem directly with me, I talk to the other players and then have an intervention to be like, yo, Paul, that drug den scene, you might have a problem there, and we all need to talk to you about that. And I'll be like, okay, I'm listening.
Well, that's a good one. Drugs. Everybody okay with it or not okay with it?
I'm cool.
I don't
I'm
care.
cool with it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
Yep.
Just in case drugs are brought into the game for whatever reason.
Oh, with me, I think they always are in one situation or
Somebody
another.
has an addictive, or the person with an addictive personality to whatever, drinking whatever, and they're
Yeah, gambling, blah blah blah. Even religion.
Yeah.
Religion is also one of those, which is
well,
so
it's,
amusing.
someone's gonna, if they're playing a paladin or
I was
cleric,
gonna say, I'm a
religion is
paladin.
gonna be in there
Yeah.
somewhere. If you're
I
playing
mean-
anything divinity-wise or celestial, it's
Yeah, I know.
possible.
Gotta get my god in each and every day. Whoa, slow down there. Okay, so next is more of a mechanical question. Do you want to do downtime activities? I mean, if we're doing a lot of narration, is it worth it? How do you feel about weight encumbrance? Or like doing the hardcore wilderness survival and keeping track of your food and water? How realistic do you guys want to play this?
Okay. So downtime stuff, we could kind of just say like sometimes we can drag a game out and just kind of say, I do this in my downtime. Like, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, if it seems like a scene worth narrating, like something, interesting to the story could happen during it, then I definitely want to narrate it. But if it's like I go buy some arrows or something, then you can just say that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, if it's a part of a quest item where it's like you need to buy X and X, Y, Z from an alchemist or whatever, and you have a plot point for that alchemist or whatever, then I think it's worth it. But if it's just like you guys are saying, oh, you just need to replenish rations, no.
Yeah. Or
Yeah.
if Paul has something interesting he wants to narrate, like an interesting shopkeeper or something, like I'm fine with it. But like, if it's just another guy selling me a health potion, it's
Yeah, and
Only if
weight
he's
and
giving a
encumbrance. As
Yeah.
long as nobody's taken horrible advantage of it, I've never tracked it before. I mean,
Yeah.
until one player told me he had 10-foot poles, and I'm like, wait a second.
Yeah. And, like,
besides that, as long as you're not taking advantage of it, I don't see any reason for us to track it. I mean,
Yeah.
the guy
Yeah,
has
I
an
agree.
8 strength. He's not carrying anything with him.
I mean, the other one I implemented, a rule I implemented that was homebrewed because we didn't use encumbrance, was one of my players had a lot of magic weapons and would just swap them all the time. I'm like, all right, dude, you can only have 2-3 items as quick items, kind of like in some of those video games like Pillars of Eternity or Baldur's Gate, where it's like you can swap between these items. Anything else you'll have to do out of combat. It's ridiculous. So
Yeah, once the character like gets their third like great axe, I'm gonna be like, how are you carrying this? Or the fifth wheel of cheese. Like, those cheese wheels, they're kind of big. How are you carrying this on your person? Yeah,
Paul will be like, this is Skyrim, now you guys are encumbered.
Half movement, guys. Oh, we can't fast travel anywhere. You guys will have to just play out the scene hour by hour. Oh god, that would be horrible.
I say poor Stu and I only move at 25 feet anyway.
I move 30 feet. I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, I'm going to be bringing up the rear all the time then.
We'll just have the quest for the baby carrier,
Oh
yeah.
my god.
What are those things called? Are they papooses where the parents carry the kids on the back? We're going to need one of those.
Yeah, exactly.
So
I want one
can,
strapped to my chest.
I can
want one
see it
strapped to my
now.
back.
Get a baby Bjorn.
I can already
Yeah.
see it. The halfling's going to be riding on the kobold's shoulders. I know it's going to happen.
Just put on a trench coat. Hey, we're a real person now.
We're now medium sized.
Oh god. So I'm guessing that realism is not like a main focus here.
I don't want to hunt for my dinner every night.
Yeah, I mean,
Realism isn't it? It's verisimilitude, right? So if it all makes sense within the context of the scene and the world, I'm totally fine with things breaking the laws of physics. I mean, it's a game with magic and charm spells and dragons and kobolds. I mean, it's I can't explain all the things that happen there, and that's okay with me.
Okay.
I agree 1,000% with you, Samuel. But there's so many groups that I belong to that are just like, if it's not realism, it doesn't count. We have to make sure you can't heal. We have to make sure your rations are counted for. And
see, the only time I keep track of that survival stuff is like if it matters to the campaign's theme. Like if I'm playing Dark Sun, you're gonna keep track of your stuff.
It was like when my players were going through a desert, I had them keep track of how much water they had. But when they're in a forest with a river, it's like, I don't care.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, come on, guys. You don't want to, like, have them get, like, river water, and if they forget to boil it, have them all get ill and...
You just have to have a character that's a druid and has good berries, and that solution is
that's
done.
Right.
I need you guys to make a Constitution saving throw.
I'm sorry, you failed. You're gonna poop your pants for the rest of the day.
Congratulations, you have dysentery.
Yeah. Oh god, just kill characters like the Oregon Trail. That would be
Dungeon,
great.
the
You
Dragon
died
Trail.
of dysentery.
Oh,
The Dragon Trail.
so
Can I at least make a poop gun first?
boy, okay. Okay. Gain back some composure here. So leading to from realism, how much do you want gods to intervene, or archfays, or archfanes, or just otherworldly presence? Like, how much do you want them to interfere with your character's like life?
I think as much as makes sense, you know?
Okay.
Like
yeah, I
would-
mean, too much can be too much. You
I-
don't want them to overshadow the actions of the characters and to make it so that they're not as heroic as they want to be made out to be, but a little help here and there's never, or interference isn't that bad.
Yeah. I'm with John on this. The way I've usually done it, if I have an active bunch of gods, is I make them kind of like the Greek gods, where it's like they do stuff. No one's really sure why they're doing what they're doing, but the heroes are the center of the story. The gods just kind of do things in the background.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, my character, he's a sorcerer, so he has a power source, and he doesn't know where his power comes from, really. So if it has something to do with the gods and they want to intervene or not, I don't really have a preference. So it's open. I sort of wrote the background, so it's kind of open to that, but it's not a necessity.
Just as long as it doesn't come in at the very end scene where it's like that critical moment where everybody's about to die and the hand of God comes down and just like, poof, you're all better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
no
agree
days,
that.
that's not-
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
yeah. So far I've had 3 resurrections, but everybody has had to pay a price. So
Actually, that was one of the questions I had, was what's everyone's views on resurrection, dead, bringing characters back from the dead and stuff like that.
we don't have a cleric, do we?
No.
Nope.
No.
no. Well, okay. So a good example is the last session of the Wednesday group. Rayanne lost her head in the most literal sense. She had a device that decapitated her, and so essentially her HP dropped to 0. She was gonna do narratively she was just flat out dead. But it gave our paladin a chance to pray really hard. I made him do a religion check, and he did phenomenal on it. And so he started communing with the goddess, and while talking to her, I had basically Rand doing death saving throws. It was actually kind of a cool scene, but that's usually how I kind of get gods in there and resurrection and stuff. Is if the dice favor you, then you might come back, or if you're willing to pray. If your character's willing to pay some kind of price or do something for whatever resurrects you. And that's
Yeah, I don't
generally how
get
roll.
I don't get Revivify until like 5th or 9th level, so you guys are fucked.
Yeah. You'll have to go do something spooky and scary to get resurrected.
Yeah,
That
I'm
sounds fun,
okay. I'm okay with resurrection as long as it's not free.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually,
exactly.
in my homebrew world, I don't have resurrection just for that reason. That there's no, in terms of you can't go to a temple and just have a priest just pay them money to get resurrected. There has to be some sort of ultimate divine touch there that would resurrect that particular PC. And not just anybody gets resurrected. And even the people who are relatively powerful and can have an effect enough to get resurrected, there's a consequence to that.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, if you're chilling in heaven, you gonna want to leave? Nah.
Right. That's true.
Well,
Yeah, there's got to be a narrative reason for you to come back.
Right.
yeah.
Right.
And the 2 characters that did die didn't exactly end up in a heaven. So
Yeah.
I was about to say.
let's just say one ended up in a dwarf purgatory, and that means orcs come and raid your camp every night, kill you, and then you live again to just do it all over
Not
again.
great.
No. But funnily enough, even though everyone was willing to pay the price, those 2 characters instantly left because they're like, "This is too much. This is way too much," and they left the group.
Oh my god.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. And
Oh, I listened to that episode.
yeah, it was a little messed up where it's like, "Oh, Rayanne, you just sacrificed your pet, your best friend, for your 2 allies," and they're like, "Oh, whatever, we're gone."
Oh.
Wow.
It was really good role playing, and we had to take a break for at least 30 minutes, and I'm like, is everyone okay now? Okay, let's go back to role playing. Oof. Okay, so you guys are fine with divine interventions as long as it doesn't like become a narrative crutch or is too frequent or seems a little bit too easy, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, and as long as the characters have their narrative agency.
Awesome. And big one here. What do you think of house rules? And how much is too many house rules?
That's totally on you, DM. I don't have a. I think they're. I don't know. I've never played in a game with too many house rules. I've made up house rules myself, but no more than a couple. So I don't. It's never been a problem.
It depends if they're for the player or against the player. Like I've played in games where like if anybody else has that spell, your player can't have that spell, which is a really bad house rule.
What?
Yeah, like
That's
you
not
can't have guiding.
What?
You can't have. That's
dumb.
some really stupid
No.
junk. But yeah.
That's a
So
load of garbage.
oh yeah. So, or no healing. There's absolutely zero healing. Everything that can heal
What?
you is taken
Why
out again.
play a cleric?
everyone dies.
Everything that's healing wise is done. It's like,
Wow.
wow, you're gonna just strip this game down, huh?
Time to burn my
So-
cleric's character sheet.
Yeah.
And all the other ones too.
So I think it depends on what the house rule is.
I agree with Amanda. I mean, in my game, the only house rule we have involves critical hits and critical fails. And that's the way they like it. As long as it's not straight out to be detrimental to the players or, strip the game down to absolutely its bare bones, I'm not going to have an issue with it.
Yeah, I don't want to relearn a whole nother set of rules, but like if there's a couple, I'm not going to throw a fit.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as long as it's not game breaking and it just doesn't create issues where you're like undoing the base of the game, like, oh, we're gonna just mess around with the basic rules of AC and 2-hit stuff, like.
Exactly, that's what I was getting at.
Yeah. If I wanted to do that, I'd go to a different system. That's pretty much it. It's like if I wanted to strip down D&D 5e, no, I'd go to a Classic Crawl Adventures or anything else, and I wouldn't play 5e. And I'd be like, hey guys, we're gonna play this system instead. But yeah, I have a few house rules I like to implement. If you want me to share, we can do this offline. I mean, whichever. And if you guys have anything that's like, hey, this like really works, do you want to try this? I mean, we could discuss it right now if you want.
I mean, I brought up my encumbrance, my weapons rule, where it's like you can only swap out between so many weapons in combat. That one worked for my group.
Yeah, I mean that sounds like a good one. I had.
So if somebody, I was gonna say, so what if somebody has 10 rings and they all do different things? No.
Well, if it uses an action, it uses an action, and you only get so many actions per turn. Duh.
Well, what if some of them have other lingering effects? I mean,
Well, I think you can only be attuned to a certain number of.
Yeah, and
magic items, right?
you can only have one of any kind of thing. I think as rules is written, like you can only have one ring, and you can
A
only
lot
have
of benefits.
one.
I think you can have 2
I
rings
think-
because you can have one on each hand.
Yeah,
I
I think that
multiple
that
rings.
sounds
The
right.
general video game
Right.
rule too is
Yeah.
one on each hand.
Yeah,
I thought there was
I haven't had the
multiple
problem.
rings, but
Yeah, I haven't had the problem where like someone was like, "Yeah, I got like 5 rings here, and I need to be attuned to all of them." I'm like, "Huh, no." Like,
And then I'm not sure, but you can't like stack up on certain rings, like rings of protection and stuff, can you?
No.
Or
not like
No.
that. But if someone's
No.
like, "This is my AC, this is my HP, this is this is that," and it's like, wow,
Oh,
This-
okay.
we're all
this is
going at
my
once.
speed.
So speaking of this, I'll just let you all know right now. I do not optimize my character.
That's okay.
So like I don't care about magic items, and I mean like, if he gets something cool, he as a character he might be, wow, what's that? But like I don't care about that sort of thing. So I won't be the guy saying, I've got 5 rings on each hand, and which one do I want to use today?
Well, guess who's gonna get the magic carpet then?
I do have a question about I don't know if you do flanking, because it does
Yeah.
change the action economy of
Yeah.
of a, because D&D 5e I found is it so much favors the group with the more numbers, and so
Yeah.
flanking I found can really even more offset that balance.
Yeah, I don't.
What do you guys think?
I don't do flanking personally, and since now you have a kobold in your party,
Pack
Pack
tactics.
does that? Yeah, it gives you pack tactics on top of that. So it's like, no, you guys have like all the advantage here. I'll have to work
Wait,
hard.
So
we all get-
well, what happens is, for me, the pack tactics is that, I get advantage on an attack roll against a creature if one of you is within 5 feet of that creature.
Ah.
Yeah, I was about to say that doesn't
Right.
affect
So-
all
Yeah.
of us.
It's
The,
like
the only reason that that's a benefit is because otherwise I have sunlight sensitivity, which means I take disadvantage on everything.
right.
Yeah.
No, it's
Right.
bounce. Flanking is still bounce. I mean, to have the advantage, especially if you're a rogue, you're looking for ways to get advantage so you can use your set. I mean,
Right.
Sneak
Well,
attack.
in the creature kobold, they do have pack tactics, and all of them end up getting advantage from each other.
right, but not
Right.
the
Yeah.
PC it doesn't, but there is something that I have that's really cool that will give you advantage every once in a while, but I'm not going to tell you what it is because I want to use it in the game and it's going to be funny as hell. So
All right. So
Ooh,
that is the
secrets.
question, though. If you don't do flanking, how does that affect rogue sneak attack?
you gotta
Sneak
screw it
attack-
up.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. I love to play rogue, so I've got a few feelings about this. Like, so there's 2 instances where you get sneak attack: is if you have an ally within 5 feet, or you have an advantage. And you can get advantage by you can use hide on your bonus action, make a stealth roll against their passive. There's lots of ways to get sneak attack without flanking.
Yep.
All right.
mhm.
Yeah, as I said,
I'm
like,
gonna vote for flanking. I'm gonna vote for it because its rules is written, and I prefer it that way.
Is it rules as written?
I
I think it's
so.
optional rule.
Yeah, I think it's an optional rule.
Yeah,
I'm
I'll,
for it.
I'll totally have to look that up, and if it's like in the rules, I mean, might as well. But if it isn't, then do we have some talking to, Amanda?
No, because I just think that it's part of the game, and it's something that I think is underutilized by a lot of the games that I've ever played in. So
Yeah.
I think if someone kept it in the back of their head and said, "Hey, is this person within X amount of feet of this other thing? Are we flanking it and then gain advantage?" I think it's great that the player remembered that because a lot of people don't.
Yeah, and well, you
It's
know,
a
you
variant
guys run
rule.
games. Yeah, I'll have to look
But
into
to
that.
answer the overall question, though, I mean, it's up to the DM in terms of what I think. So I would go either way, whichever one you decided.
Yeah, one rule.
Yeah,
that-
I just
Oh,
go ahead, Paul. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I don't have super strong feelings about it either way. I think it is important to be cognizant that 5e, the action economy is balanced, like I said, towards a bigger party, and flanking increases that advantage, I guess. I can't think of the better word for it, but that imbalance. So I think that's just important for. I mean, if we don't all want to die in combat against 20 20 or 30 skeletons,
Yeah.
Right. I mean, they do also have that, and they also have pack tactics. I mean, what I don't understand what the issue would be. I mean, I understand what you're trying to say, but on the same side, I also see that it is, something that if you were a druid and you chose a wolf and you have pack tactics, it's the same thing as if wolves were out there having pack tactics.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't get rid of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely something to look into, and I'll definitely read the rules over that and think it over, and make sure I have a document of, hey guys, we're going to do this and this and this, because how I believe house rules should be done is that if you have it written down, if it's available to everyone, you should be able to use it. But it's like those people who make house rules on the fly, who don't write them down, who changes it up every so often. No, that's not how you do house rules. That's just how you try to win the game against your players.
Yeah.
in my
I think as long
opinion.
as it's consistent and fair, then it's fine.
Yeah.
Yep.
But and also it's on the DM to remember, like, if there is 100 skeletons and they're all flanking us, to say they're flanking us. I mean, the DM doesn't always remember that's something too.
Yeah.
Right.
And that actually brings us to the very last question. How comfortable are you correcting the DM when they might be wrong?
That's a question if you went on air or not, because I've played with people that were like, do not correct the DM on air.
See, I don't have a problem because I know that I'm 80% correct. Like the whole flanking thing, I was like, I don't know if that's actually written. But, somebody said it was a variant. That's cool. And, I'm not doing this for ego or pride or anything. I'm doing this to have fun. And, if there's a rule that I forget or I accidentally call something, like in one of my sessions, I accidentally had someone, take both their move actions and then attack even though they couldn't, call me out on it. I'd rather you guys, I'd rather have everyone playing by the rules than me, messing it up and someone being like, dude, you really messed that up and you've been messing it up for the last 5 sessions.
I think the only time I would do that is if I was really, really sure about that rule and it was I think impacting the game.
Yeah.
But I would try to do it as tactfully as I could.
Like in game, I might try and be like, "Hey, yo, Paul, I don't. Is that how it goes? Like, correct me if I'm wrong. I think it goes a different way. But if it's gonna turn into a whole rules lawyering discussion,
Yeah.
I'm gonna talk you out of game, and I'll let you call the rule in game, and then out of game we'll talk about it and figure it out.
Right. Yep. That's how I prefer to do it too.
Yeah.
Usually my role is if it takes more than 5 minutes to discuss, then we're going to do it in between a break or after the session. But if it's something really simple, it's like, hey, yo, look on page 187. I'll be like, okay, oh yeah, I am doing it wrong. Okay, let's redo that.
Yeah, or for the movement thing, I'd be like, he took 2 movements. He shouldn't be attacking. If it's a quick, 2 second thing, no biggie.
Yeah, it's no biggie. If it turns into a 30-minute discussion on movement dynamics and sizes and all that stuff, I'm gonna be like, no, let's wait. Let's do this.
Yeah,
a
that's
bit
the
later.
thing. I just want to avoid getting bogged down on all the rules. I just like the game to move at a nice speed.
Yeah, the rules are there story over rules is my preference.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I will warn you guys ahead of time. Usually I have players keep track of their own bless and key points and stuff, so if you are a monk and you're using key points, I'm not going to remind you to use them, but I expect you to keep track of them, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's fair.
Makes plenty of sense. Spell
Yeah,
slots,
definitely.
And
spell slot,
especially you
mages,
guys, since you guys know what you're doing, I'm probably going to expect a lot more out of you guys. That sounds horrible.
Yeah, set the bar way too high.
Yeah.
Wait, how did it turn out that we're supposed to know what we're doing?
I don't know. I mean, everybody expects me to know what I'm doing when I'm playing a game. No, I don't. It's really funny when I play another system and I'm a player, and then we stop and they're like, "Hey, Paul, how would you rule this?" I'm like, "I don't know. I've never played the system before. Why are you asking me?"
I've never played Dark Heresy. I don't know.
I lose a limb. Okay,
I die.
I die in a horrific way. Isn't that how the game goes?
Yeah, pretty much.
We don't have to talk about starting gear right now. I have on the questions. I have just a list of starting gear because I know you guys have been asking about that. And since you are level 4, we're gonna roll to see if you actually have a magic item even yet. And
God.
yeah, but they're gonna be common, basically. So it's not gonna break the game too much. I've been trying to be better at handing out magic items and not handing out too many. So yeah.
Trying to decide when to hand out magic items is really scary because I never know if I'm overpowering my players or not giving them enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been there where I gave them too much, and every encounter I had to beef up every monster. It made my homework so much more to do.
My favorite My favorite is when I give my players a match or what I think is a really cool magic item, and they put it in their bag of holding and they forget about it forever. And I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
That's even better when you homebrew something and they're like, "Yeah, I'm gonna stick it in my pocket." It's like, okay.
Great.
I made it
Thanks.
for you, though.
Give them something really cool, but they're like, nah. But this talking shield that has no benefits. Now that's what I'm talking about.
Why, thank you. I'm a good talking shield. Here's an important question. Where do you guys want to start the campaign? Because there's a lot of options. It's a big world. And,
Oh, man.
yeah, I'm going to have you guys think about this because,
There were so many cities.
oh,
So many.
this is just the ones that I'm like, oh, hey, this is a list. And then the very last one is you guys start in prison. Because
Oh my
why not?
God.
I never get to
Best
play
one.
tropes. Can I just say that I don't mind tropes because everyone I've ever played with avoids them. So if you throw some at me, I'm not gonna complain.
Yeah, I'm cool with tropes.
Yeah, me too.
Starting in prison,
I mean, they're
starting a
tropes for
pirate
a
ship.
reason.
Yeah,
Yeah, like
Yeah, exactly.
yeah. Okay, so prison, pirate ship. What are the other good ones? I'm
A
just
tavern.
The
Yeah.
only thing about the prison one is I can't really think of a reason why Taz would be in prison.
Likewise with Ray.
Everyone's like,
Yeah,
hey.
Stu would totally be in prison.
So there are
always
plenty of reasons why
standing.
Ross goes in
Yeah,
prison.
yeah, Flea might find his way there.
Kraken
But-
would end up there for one reason or another.
With prison, I mean, there's a variety of different reasons. There's from the guard that just you looked at it wrong, it hates you, and it's just gonna throw you in prison.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I've done that
Yeah.
beginning, and then I turned them into gladiators, and it was a fun time.
yeah. That's the problem. Like, why would I go for prison though? Because I do have a couple things like actually planned out in my head that I haven't quite written down, but it's like, okay, where would you go from prison? Yeah, but once again, it's probably something that you guys want to talk to yourselves about. That didn't make any sense coming out of my mouth, but yeah, just look at the map, look at like where everything is, and depending on where you guys want to start, well, kind of like flavor what we're doing. Or, you can just start in the capital city and leave it to that.
Do we want to discuss this now on air, or do we want to talk about this over a chat or something?
It's up to you guys. I mean, if you want to talk about it right now, that's cool. If you want to just leave it alone and do it amongst yourselves in chat, that's cool too.
Or just off air, maybe that
Yeah,
way
or
we can
just
solve
off-
around
yeah.
a discussion,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because I think that would give the plot away too much to be like, I want
Right.
to start here, and
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're gonna have that discussion about who knows who and
Mhm.
all of that as well off air. We might as well just do the starting point too. I think
Yeah.
Amanda's on to something there.
Okay.
Yep.
And the rest of these, yeah, they're just dumb discussion things, especially the one about the fourth wall. That was just dumb.
I thought it was.
I mean, I thought it was a fun one. I've broken the
Yeah.
fourth wall.
I think we've
Before.
all.
Fourth wall doesn't exist in my
I just saw Deadpool today, so I'm ready.
Yeah, that's.
I was gonna say there's no role playing turning towards the camera and winking before you do something.
My character
I love
turns
that-
toward the camera and winks.
I love that you used Pascal's
Oh,
for that fourth wall
And
thing.
it's sound pressure, man. You got to use the right measurements, or it's just not worth it. There's standardized measurements for a reason, guys. Okay.
Talking about the really important things.
Yeah, talking about the
Yeah.
really important things. We're kind of done with our session 0. So
your sixth question though, hold up, your sixth question, banter. Is everybody okay with banter out of character, or is everyone like, no, just keep it in character?
I'm okay with that out of character unless it's a really tense or important scene, and then I would hate to have sort of background conversations distract from.
As
Yeah.
long as it's not taking
Yeah.
away from what's happening in the narrative, then it's fine.
Right.
Yeah, like I'm fine with it. Like as long as it's about the game. Like like for instance, I just talked about Deadpool for a second. Like if I did that during a game, like I don't know, that's a little gray area, but
Yeah.
Well, or even like it's not like a breaking scene or anything, but you're like, oh, like in the movie, XXX,
right.
and
I
it's
mean,
I super
unless you're
encourage
using it to
players.
describe.
Oh yeah, I super encourage players if you just want to like have a side conversation, use the chat. I mean, we have
Yeah.
like all these chat platforms, and yeah, you
Yeah.
can use them while like Krakatur and Ray are out like scouting for something, and everybody else is just like behind a camp or whatever.
Yep.
So yeah, that's what I usually encourage my Wednesday group to do. And weirdly enough, they don't do a lot of side conversation, which is kind of weirds me out, really. It's like, whoa, you guys are like staying on topic and playing the game this whole time. That's pretty good. So I know they're new players too, which is like super amazing. So maybe they just don't know better.
We don't know yet.
Yeah, they don't know yet. And I hope they never do.
The world of possibilities out there.
Yeah. Well, I think we've answered most of the questions pretty well, and I understand where you guys are coming from, and you guys know that I'm open and available to talk if you guys have any further issues, or you're like, hey dude, I can't play, I can't stand your voice, so I'm out. So,
Jeez.
Yeah.
At least lie. Come on.
Sorry guys,
Not with
can't
that
play with
charisma,
me.
I can't.
So I'm going to call this good session 0, and we'll do our outros and go offline. And I don't know, maybe we'll record something tonight, or we'll just like talk and see where it takes us. So with that being said, I'm Paul. I'm going to be the DM for this whole thing, so you'll probably hear me consistently. If you want to follow us or follow Swordline, wow, I'm messing that up. If you want to follow Swordfall online, we do have a Twitter. It's at SwordfallDND. If you're here, this is our YouTube page. Subscribe, like, comment, ring the bell. I don't know what else you have to do to get like this in your feed anymore, so it's kind of up to YouTube, I guess. We also have a Facebook page, a Google Plus, and I can't remember what else. If you want to follow me on my personal Twitter, I mostly tweet about dogs and D&D and other things. It's at Paul_Garish. That's at PAUL_GERRISH. Sam, I think you're next.
Oh. Well, you've been listening to me. I'm Sam Dillon. I play Stu the Kobold, and I hope to have you watching us next time.
Have anything you want to plug?
Nah, I plugged in the beginning.
Okay.
I'm Lucy, and I will be playing Taz the Bard. And make sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram. I said my handle at the beginning.
Oh, you can say it again.
Okay, it's Bluebird Draws.
Okay, and I'm Amanda, or at DM Deistress on Twitter. I'm playing Tabby Tipsy Tail. She is a tabaxi, and I'll just leave it at that.
It has one of the best names ever. I just have to add that.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
I'm Camille. I'm going to be playing Ray, the Paladin, and that's all I got for now.
I'm Chris. I'm going to be playing Flea the Lizard Folk, and yeah.
And I'm John. I'm going to be playing Roscoe, the Halfling Wizard, and you can follow me on Twitter at John_the DM.
And I'm Alex. I am playing as Krakatur, the Air Genasi Barbarian. Forgot to say that in the beginning. And then you can follow me on Twitter at Mr_Puddins. And then you can find the link to my blog, Kobold Stew, through there.
Yeah, well, I hope everybody is having a nice evening or whatever time of day it is in your area. And if you are listening to this, just remember that we will be coming out with a lot more episodes of Swordfall with both the Tuesday group and the Wednesday group. So keep track. I hope you guys enjoyed listening to this, and bye.